A lot of people get confused about audio parts and audio events. I've gone through this in level 2 of this series, but let's do a quick brush up. Consider audio events as raw audio files sitting on the project page. When you click on them, they have the blue square and triangles at the top of the event. This is their dead giveaway. Parts are containers for the events. Think of them as boxes that events can go into. You would want to create parts to help you group things together so that you can move them around more easily. For example, let's say you have a whole bunch of audio events from a vocal part. You can group them into a part by selecting Events to Part from the audio menu. There are other ways to create parts, and that's to glue events with a glue gun, by drawing in a part with a draw tool, or by double-clicking between the left and right locator. Now that we've created a part, let's open it up. At the top of the window, you can see all the tools in the toolbar. Let's right-click and get rid of them all. Now let's add the first one, Info Solo. The Solo Editor button is used to play only what you see in this editor. The other music in CUBASE will be muted out. The next button is to view the info line. When you click on the audio event, you can see all of its settings: file, description, start, end, length, etc. The tool buttons are next. These were explained in the previous levels of this video series, except for this button here, Time Warp. This is explained in the video coming up called Time Warp. Next is Preview. This is to audition the audio events in this editor. When you click on an event and then press the audition button, it plays that audio event.
Sometimes I can't believe it.
If you have the audition loop on, it will loop that event.
Sometimes I can't believe it. Sometimes I can't believe it.
You can also set the volume level of the audition here. The auto scroll is easy. It simply scrolls the window as the audio event plays. You've seen this in the other editors and on the project page. The Part List tool comes next. This is useful if you have selected multiple parts in the project page and then open the part editor. You can select multiple parts from the same track or from different tracks. If you selected from different tracks, you'll actually see the track name and number listed on the left side. Clicking the Show Part Borders allows you to see the defined border for the active part. If you were looking at this part and then arrange the window so that we can see the project page at the same time, we can see that when we change the part borders in the part editor, it changes on the project page. Now let's try this. Close the window. And move this part beside this part. Let's highlight them both and open up the audio part editor. Now let's choose the different parts. I'm going to turn off Edit Active Part Only right now. Now let's grab this audio file right here. Now let's grab this audio event right here and drop it over here. It asks me if I want to enlarge the part. But look, it took it out of this audio part and placed it into this audio part. What if I want to keep this event in this audio part? Let's undo this. Turn on the Edit Active Part Only. Then when I grab this audio event, move it over, it asks me if I want to enlarge the part, but it's only going to enlarge the part that it belongs to. This event is still in this part, but these events are in this much larger part. If that's hard to see, I'm going to go out of the audio part editor, back to the project page, and you can see that this audio part is separate still from this one. The nudge palette allows us to nudge things back and forth and also trim the start and end points. This also depends on the quantize setting, of course. Snap was discussed in level 1 of this series, so we don't need to cover it here. You might be running out of space at the top of the window now, so let's not view what we've already covered. The color scheme lets you pick colors for the events, and then there's independent track loop settings. This allows us to loop within this editor, so that it is independent from the project page's loop. Let's try this. Let's loop this part over and over and over. All I do is turn on this button and draw my loop, just like a regular loop. You can make it exact by entering the numbers here. Now that'll be our independent track loop. Let's press play at the beginning of the project, move this screen up a bit, and watch this section loop over and over and over while the main project plays. Now you can see that the project's playing, and I've created a loop from the beginning of the song to the end of the song. But the audio part editor is looping on its own. The last thing we're going to talk about is lanes. You can have different lanes in the part editor. Only one lane can play at a time, but it makes things easier when you are editing a complex part. More on this in the video called Vocal Comping and Lanes. I will, however, show you how to move things around using lanes. You can move this audio file down and a lane will automatically be created. There really isn't much to see when I move this part down. Let's hold down Alt while I do it, and it'll create copies. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes. Only one lane can play back at a time, and it's the bottom lane. That means when the audio plays, it'll play this one, go straight to this one. When it's finished the bottom one, it'll jump to this one, it'll play this one, and if I arrange this just right, it'll play this one at the end. Once again, there'll be more detailed information on lanes in the video called Vocal Comping and Lanes.